Peace and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of Mindfulness with Maya. And here I have my first guest ever, a special guest, my friend Linda of 15 years.
Hello, hi, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
All right.
I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here with us. So thank you for that.
Oh, no problem.
So today we're going to be discussing the effects of single motherhood and how navigating through single motherhood can be traumatic for some of us. So if you can give us a quick, just a brief description of your experience of single motherhood and how traumatic it has been and could be.
Well, it can be all different types of dynamics of this whole thing, but it has been very traumatic. It has been rewarding at times, but those moments sometimes can be far in between.
Yes.
The reward of having my kids and seeing a smile on their faces is really, it's almost selfish because it's just me seeing how strong I've been through this whole thing without having someone to look to or to catch me when I fall. I always have to be that one. So, yeah, it was very traumatic, but I got through it just knowing that I ain't have no choice.
And thank you for that. I can't imagine because, I'm not a mother, let alone a young mother. But how would you say your experiences were like navigating through motherhood as a young adult, a young woman, transitioning into that, type of life? What was that like for you?
Like a small deer being caught in headlights without his mother, nowhere near. Very scary.
And what age were you when you first became a mother?
19.
What did you imagine that being like before having your child? Like, what did you think
Oh, it was cute. It was like real cute. It was supposed to be cute. It was supposed to be nice. But it wasn't. It was everything but that. It hurt a lot, physically, mentally afterwards. But it was just rewarding to know that my babies loved me so much.
And if I can ask, or if you can share with us, at what point did you become a single mother? Because I know that you started off in a relationship with your boyfriend at the time.
Oh, that was very much short-lived. When money and things that's needed is not given without a fight, it sometimes get very frustrating and you'd rather just depend on yourself. So that was very much short-lived. And I just learned to get it done as best I could by myself and with my family's help.
And me also knowing a little more about our background, I know, that there were times, in the past where you were in school, you had to stop going to school because you had to make sure your son was cared for and babysitters were falling through. What was that like, starting your journey of school and then having to quit that journey?
Oh, that was very disappointing, especially knowing that I was going to still owe them people money. Regardless, that was a real big pill to swallow. But it's a part of my story, and I still owe them people.
Yeah, I understand that. I owe them as well. And so what would you say was the toughest part about, single motherhood? Like what were, if you can name maybe just one or two things that was like the biggest struggle for you at that time when your child was a small baby?
Trying to genuinely care for a baby and genuinely try to pay my bills the way that a grown person is supposed to, because I was never used to none of that before then. So it was like, Mom, bills, everything, you got to, so that was a real big part as well. Like bills and baby, it was intense.
And, because looking back, during the ages we were at that time, I believe you were about 19, 20 when you had your child.
Mm-hmm.
I know we were on two different roads. I had just went to school, and you had just had your baby, your son.
Mm-hmm.
How did that affect your experiences, with wanting to, I guess, experience life as an adult? Like, do you feel like you got to experience
No,
going out
everything had to change. I could no longer, be open to this world of beautifulness and adventure and endless opportunities. I had to do what I could do at the moment to make money and make sure the bills were paid, and I still was able to effectively pick my son up from school, go back and forth. So yeah, no, everything was altered. Nothing that I thought about my whole growing up of how life was going to be, it changed.
And if you give some advice, to some young women now who may be experiencing single motherhood or experiencing having their first child, what would you say, like, would be the best advice you could give them?
Oh man, get a good career going. If you can go to school while you're young, because do the struggle while you're young. That's all I can say, because when you get older, you're going to want to relax more stuff and coast,
and
I would say, in life. But when you're young, you can really endure a lot more, and it's always going to be over after a little while. Like, you really think that it's going to take forever. It's not.
And so I do understand, I can understand how stressful that doing it all on your own can be. If you could give some tips on, like, I'm wondering, like, because this is Mindfulness with Maya, so I would love to ask you, what are some mindfulness practices that you do or that you've done in the past that allowed you to cope better with the stresses of single motherhood?
Getting rest. Doing stuff for yourself.
Okay.
And making sure no matter what, you go to work and don't call out.
I get that. Do you feel like you do enough for you to care for yourself? Like,
just enough.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us.
Okay. No problem.
All right. Well, there you have it. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to the first episode of Mindfulness with Maya. And I appreciate my friend Linda sharing those experiences.
No problem.
Those are, raw experiences, heartfelt experiences that I know still affect you today.
Yes.
So I appreciate you sharing that with us.
No problem.
And I appreciate your transparency with that. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Have a great day.
Okay.